Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. We've got a great video for you today all about the best races all around the world to give you hopefully lots of ideas and inspiration about what you're going to do for your next big race. So sit back, relax, let's get stuck into this. Right guys, here we go, a list of my 51 best running road races in the world. Most of these I've run myself, or at the very least coach someone to run that particular race as well. So I get asked so many times, what's your best race? What are the best races? I don't know what to do for my next race. So I thought I'd put together a list of the best races in the UK, and then a list of the best races in the rest of Europe, and then a little focus on North America, and then finally a little focus on worldwide. So if you want to skip around in the video as usual, and then a little bonus at the end, I'll talk about my best race that is not a major. If you want to know all about the majors, then check out a video I made a couple of videos ago. We'll link to it down below, all about the majors. But yeah, we're not touching on them here. Right guys, we're going to start at Manchester Marathon, probably the fastest course in the UK, the definite PB potential for nice fast and flat, great atmosphere out there, definitely one to check out. Moving on, we've got Snowdonia Marathon, maybe the hardest marathon to get in. It sells out so quickly every year, it's already sold out for next year, but keep an eye out for next year. One of the most beautiful, the most scenic routes of a marathon you can ever think, having a lap of the whole of Snowdon, the second highest mountain in the UK. Moving on, Royal Parks Half Marathon. Most people say the most beautiful half marathon in the country, running through the centre of London, taking in 4 of the Royal Parks and some of the most iconic landmarks, Buckingham Palace, etc. Check it out, a ballot to get in, but well worth putting your name in the hat. Moving on, Great North Run, 56,000 people taking part in this iconic race, world famous out there around the streets of Newcastle and out to the coast in South Shields. Hopefully the normal course will be back soon. Moving on, the Great Manchester 10K, starting right in the centre of this iconic city, super fast flat route out to Old Trafford, the Manchester United football ground, turn around and head all the way back again. We've got a couple of really fast marathons, Edinburgh Marathon and Newport in Wales. Yeah, Edinburgh starting in the centre of town, finishing down on Leith, runs all the way along the coast. Really, again, fast, flat route. If the weather's nice, which it always isn't in Scotland, then it is a definite PB potential course. And moving on, Newport in Wales. Wales' only sort of fast, flat road marathon, the other one being Snowdon, but that is definitely not flat. Yeah, definitely one to check out for all you PB hunters out there. Quickly, guys, of course, my question of the day is going to be, what is your favourite race out there on the roads? I cannot do every single race in this video, so let me know, share the love, and let us have a chat in the comments about the best races anywhere in the world. Check out the Cardiff Bay 10K, a really, again, fast, flat route all around the bay in Cardiff, obviously. We've got a couple of races now in Bath. The Bath Half, very flat route, despite Bath being an incredibly hilly part of the world. Great support out there on the streets of Bath. And also they run an event called the 2 Tunnels. There's lots of different distances you can enter in this event. They claim, and I'm not going to dispute it, running through the longest tunnel in any race. Well, not many races go through tunnels, but anyway, it's a nice little race to do. Bournemouth Marathon on the south coast of the UK with a really steep hill about halfway through the race as well, where I have my personal worst time of 4 hours 50. Crikey, what happened on that day? That's for another story. But yeah, that's not a reflection of the race. It's a great race to go and do. Antrim Coast Half Marathon, Larne in Northern Ireland. Such an incredibly fast course, even if you live in England, Wales, Scotland, well worth taking the trip over to Northern Ireland for this one, where the female world record is for the half marathon, which was set in this year. Check out my video if you want to know some more about that. A couple more really fast 10Ks now. The Leeds Abbey Dash and the Telford 10K. They attract an incredibly elite field into this race. In the Telford 10K, there's usually around about 200 men, sub 34 minutes, and around about 60 women, sub 40 minutes. So both of these races, incredibly flat, fast courses. The big half in central London, starting at Tower Bridge and finishing down here in Greenwich, where I live. Put on by London Marathon Events, a big charity aspect, great crowd support out there on the course as well. One of my favourite events in the calendar. Loch Ness Marathon, finishing in the centre of Inverness, starting out in Loch Ness. I think probably Scotland's fastest marathon. Sorry about that, Edinburgh. But it attracts a really strong field out there and a beautiful scenic route. nicely undulating and a net downhill as well for a fast time. Great South Run 10 mile, obviously the only 10 miler on this, you don't get many 10 mile races. Definitely the flattest route I have ever run in any race. There is no elevation on this course whatsoever, so it can be a really nice warm-up race if you've got some marathons and things like that. Great route, great support. Right guys, starting to wrap up the UK races now. We've got the Liverpool Rock and Roll Marathon. People that like to go along, have a bit of a dance, just have some fun out there on the route. Lots of live bands on the course. It's not a PB potential course in my eyes. It's a little bit hilly, but it's a great fun day out in a fantastic city of Liverpool. The Ealing Half, really good half marathon for anyone that wants to get out there and do a half marathon for the first time. A nice friendly route, great atmosphere, really good community feel about this event. Right, that's a wrap for the UK races. Have I missed any? What is your best UK race? Let me know down in the comments. Right, let's move on with the rest of Europe. Right, here we go guys, we've got a spectacular list of races coming up. Starting out, Paris Marathon, my second ever marathon. Great iconic race through the city of love. Just spectacular scenery as you go around, taking in all the sights, the Eiffel Tower, the Champs-Elysees, couple of fast marathons in the Netherlands, Amsterdam Marathon and Rotterdam Marathon. I've run both of these. There is barely a hill on either of them. If I think I had to decide, I'd say Rotterdam was just had a little bit better atmosphere out there. Oh, back in my early days when I ran Medoc Marathon, it's got to be my slowest ever marathon, well over 5 hours. Tasting wine as you go through the vineyards in the Bordeaux region of France. Having food on the way, it's like steak, oysters. It's just an incredible atmosphere out there, just having fun. Compulsory fancy dress, not one for PBs, one's for getting very tipsy and having some good food along the way. Quickly guys, if you are finding this video useful, please like and share it with your friends that are looking for some inspiration. And if you don't already, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can see as soon as we upload videos all about running and training and getting better and having fun. Couple of marathons in Spain. Now, Valencia Marathon, where I hold my PB of 2:25. Just obviously a very fast route, a city of runners. There's such a running culture that runs through this place. And Seville Marathon, which was cancelled but is coming back next year. You can enter it right now. Great temperatures when they're run. Super fast, flat course. Moving on to something a little bit different. The Midnight Sun Marathon in Tromsø, up in the Arctic Circle at the top of Norway, where the sun never sets. So it starts at night, 8:30 p.m. Obviously stunning scenery around this part of the world. Moving on to the Athens Authentic Marathon, starting out in the town of Marathon and finishing in Athens, following the original marathon course. Finishes in the Olympic Stadium, maybe one of the most incredible finish lines of any marathons I've ever run. Definite sort of PB potential, not the fastest course out there, but one well worth checking out and exploring the history of the marathon as well. I think I missed out Barcelona from my little Spanish bit earlier, so we better add that one in now. Taking in all the big sights of the town. You go around the Camp Nou, or Nou Camp, depending on how you like to pronounce that. Really good for spectator support as well. Comes earlier than most of the sort of big spring marathons, around about March time. Beautiful weather. Get down to Spain. Rome Marathon, the capital of Italy, the Colosseum. Again, just a good sightseeing marathon. When I ran it, there were a few cobbles and things, which wasn't great near the end of the run, but still just a beautiful city to be in. Reykjavik Marathon in Iceland, just obviously an amazing country. What a culture to be in and to learn all about. This race brings in around about 15,000 runners into the city. They've got lots of different distances. Moving on to Dublin, Ireland's premier marathon. Again, a fast, flat course, definite PB potential here. Taking in all that Irish culture, and of course, if you're running it, make sure you have that pint of Guinness at the end. Moving on to a couple of races in Switzerland, the Geneva Marathon and the Geneva 20K. Geneva Marathon I've run so many times I can't even remember. First half of the race out in the countryside, second half coming in to the town centre. Yeah, maybe not the most obvious PB potential, but still, it's quite a fast race out there, and you got a chance to run a fantastic time. Geneva 20K, really enjoyed this race. Again, a bit of an odd distance. Why not just make it a half marathon? But yeah, it was a great day I had out there running this race. Friendly city, amazing finishing down there on the lake with the big fountain going off. Just a great place to be. Maybe the best finish line anywhere in the world, Frankfurt Marathon, which we ran a couple of years ago. You finish inside, there's a disco party, pumping tunes out there. Just gets you around the whole race thinking about what is coming up. A very fast, flat course, huge PB potential there. Finally, the fastest marathon in the world is what they're called in this new event, one to check out. which has a huge net downhill. It's going to be in the Sierra Nevada mountains, just outside of Granada next year. Moving on to North America, CIM, California International Marathon, maybe the fastest marathon. Tracks a huge field, especially in Olympic qualifying years, where all the Americans are trying to get their OTQs. Again, a bit of a net downhill race, huge PB potential. Grand Mars Marathon, 10,000 runners on the streets of Duluth in Minnesota, a point-to-point marathon, super fast as well, attracting a strong field. Boulder, that may be the biggest 10K race in the world, 54,000 runners in Boulder. Where do these people stay? I guess in Denver. Finishes it in the University of Colorado, big football stadium at the end, huge field, huge atmosphere. Bay to Breakers, San Francisco, California, starting in the Bay Area, heading down to Ocean Beach, about 7.5 miles, about 12K for this one. Huge race. It used to hold the world record, 110,000 people running this in around about 2010, which was overtaken by a race we've got coming up in a minute. But yeah, anybody that lived in that sort of area will know all about this race. Watch out for the centipedes, big groups of runners running together, so sort of race within a race. The Marine Corps Marathon, the People's Marathon in Washington, DC, taking in all the sights of Washington. As with a lot of the races on this list, just a fast, flat, definite PB potential course. The Carlsbad 5000, the biggest 5K race in all of America. Huge field, huge elite field as well. Super fast times to be had there. And finishing up in America, we've got the Houston Half, big elite fields come in for this race. Around about 25,000 runners, usually run in the colder months in January. And finally, the Shamrock Shuffle 8K, probably the second biggest event in Chicago's running scene, after, of course, the Chicago Marathon. But still a huge event, 30,000 runners taking on the streets of Chicago to get their 8K time. And finally, moving on to the rest of the world, the Comrades Marathon in South America, a 90K route starting in either Pietermaritzburg or Durban. It alternates each year, whether you run uphill or downhill. You won't find a single human being in South Africa that hasn't heard of this iconic race. Everybody wants to run it. We want to run it. We'll be back in South Africa as soon as the race is back on. Two Oceans Marathon. I don't know why they call it a marathon. It really is an ultra marathon. 56K, around about 35 miles, all around Cape Town. Such a spectacular route between Comrades and Two Oceans. Everybody in South Africa really wants to run these races. Moving over to Australia, City to Surf in Sydney. Maybe one of the biggest, well, it is one of the biggest races in the world. 80-odd thousand runners every year, has been over 100,000 in some years. Starting in Hyde Park in Sydney, heading down to Bondi Beach. 14K route, some super fast times to be had there. And then Gold Coast Marathon, just a little bit further up the coast. Well, actually quite far. Everything in Australia is far away from each other. Australia's premier marathon, attracting huge fields. Locals, people all around Australia coming in for that one. And then second last, we've got the Hawke's Bay Marathon in New Zealand, where I made my first ever YouTube video all of those years ago. Check out that video, #1 on the channel. Just got those sentimental memories for me, running all through the vineyards. And finally, Wings for Life, which is all over the world. Everybody starts running at exactly the same time at your local event, and you just see how far you can run on that day before you're caught by the chaser car. A lot of people will end up running a marathon and even longer in this unique, amazing event, so well worth checking out to get down to your local one for your country. So there we have it, guys. That is my complete list of races. Well, it's actually 50. We've got to do the 50 first. What is my favourite race that I've run that is not a major? London is my favourite race. It's not going to be top. But my very favourite race that's not a major is this amazing little race in a town called Nijmegen in the Netherlands. It's called, I can't even pronounce it in Dutch, but it's called the Seven Hills Loop. It's a 15K race, taking in some spectacular, well, but there are only 7 hills that there are in the Netherlands. Amazing atmosphere at this race, and I don't know what it was about. It's just something very special. I had a great time. I made a video I was very happy with when I was there. Such a warm welcome from a fantastic community of people out there. Well worth a trip over if you're not from the Netherlands. Around about 40,000 people run this race that most people have never heard of. So there we go, guys. Thank you very much for following all the video. Hope you found it useful and got some ideas for some new races that you want to do out there. That's my top list. What have I missed out? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you for all the Patreon and the YouTube legends here making this possible. Please check out the website for all the latest and greatest merch, the best running hats in the world out there. And we will see you in the next one.